The only comment I would have is if you were going to have undermining issues, but if you've got lots of nice big coarse bedrock, then I trust your judgment.
During the early 1900s, Parker Schnabel's grandfather, John Schnabel, was involved in the pursuit of gold in the Klondike. This is the beginning of the captivating story that is Parker Schnabel's journey to wealth. As a result of John's dogged determination, he was able to become a millionaire miner, despite the many challenges he faced. Parker began his mining career at the tender age of 5, having been inspired to do so by his grandfather. He had already established himself as a mining prodigy by the time he was 16 years old and was already operating his own claim. The question is, how much wealth has Parker amassed? You might be taken aback by the response itself. Therefore, the Schnabel story in the Klondike could be traced all the way back to the early 1900s. In an effort to pursue his dream of finding gold, a young John Schnabel packed his belongings and headed north. And there is no doubt about it, it was not an easy task. These formative years were fraught with a great deal of adversity and a great deal of failure. However, John was constructed in a different way. Even though he had to learn the ropes the hard way, he persisted in his efforts and eventually achieved success. As a result of his decades of experience in the mining industry, he is now considered to be one of the most experienced miners in the Klondike. As a result of his perseverance and hard work, John Schnabel was able to amass a gold pile worth multiple millions of dollars by the time he reached his senior years. However, the Schnabel legend was not yet finished. The grandson of John, Parker, has arrived. Whenever Parker was a young boy, he looked up to his grandfather and practically soaked up his grandfather's knowledge of gold like a sponge. Even as a young child, it was clear that Parker possessed a natural talent for engaging in mining activities. In addition, let's just say that he was more than determined to ensure the continued success of the family business. This fascination with gold began at a young age, much younger than you might otherwise anticipate. When Parker Schnabel was only 5 years old, he began his journey in the gold game. His story begins even further back. Parker, his grandson, was allowed to accompany his grandfather, John, who was a mining legend in his own right, to the mines that were located close to Haines, Alaska. Now, the majority of children of that age are obsessed with cartoons and Legos, but Parker was completely convinced. The noise of the machines, the noise of the dirt flying around, and the most exciting part, which is seeing real gold emerge from the ground. Forget about video games. For him, it was more the equivalent of a treasure hunt in real life. Over the course of his childhood, Parker's passion for gold mining only grew stronger. By the time he turned 10, he was already operating miniature excavators and sorting gold while his grandfather kept a watchful eye on him. It was discovered that Parker possessed a sixth sense for locating gold, which was superior to that of some experienced miners. At the age of 16, John made the decision to present Parker with a significant challenge. Parker was in charge of everything because he leased a portion of his own claim to Parker. He was in charge of everything, the bills, the profits, and everything else for that matter. Is it really possible that a 16-year-old is operating a mine? Obscure. But Parker maintained his composure. In order to extract significant quantities of gold, he assembled a group of local miners, put in a lot of effort, and utilized his gold-finding magic. Parker Schnabel was soon being referred to as a prodigy, and it was immediately apparent that he was destined to become just as famous as his grandfather. The news of this teenage mining genius spread like wildfire. By the year 2012, Parker had already established himself as a gold-digging boss in the Yukon. Using his intelligence and innovative mining techniques, the individual was raking in a substantial amount of money and leaving more experienced prospectors in the dust. The attention of a few reality television networks was drawn to this young prodigy, and they were eager to produce a show about gold mining. You guessed accurately. They proposed an outrageous idea to Parker. Gold Rush is a brand new show that will be broadcast on Discovery Channel. As part of the show, a camera crew will follow him around. Parker, who had always been a successful businessman and perhaps even a little bit of a showman, saw this experience as a golden opportunity to spread his wings and share the legacy of his family with the rest of the world. Following a brief conversation with Grandpa John, Parker gave his assent, and then Gold Rush came into existence. With the very first episode, Parker established himself as a household name. The manner in which he hustled like it was nobody's business, his youthful energy, and his brain packed with gold knowledge were all things that viewers couldn't get enough of from him. The Gold Rush was a phenomenon that caused Parker Schnabel to become a well-known figure, and he became one of the most promising young players in the gold mining industry. However, he did not let the fame slow him down in the the least. Over the course of his Porcupine Creek operation, he increased the size of his machines, made them more powerful, and recruited an entirely new crew. Throughout the course of each season, Parker continued to break his own gold records by utilizing his ingenuity, coming up with innovative mining strategies, and utilizing his wits. We are talking about him bringing in more than 3,000 ounces of gold in a single season when he was in his early 20s. That is a significant amount of money. Parker was able to turn his mining expertise and his status as a television personality into an empire. When it came to making money and extracting the most gold from the ground, he established new standards. As a result of Gold Rush and his own undeniable talent, Parker went from being a promising rookie to an elite force, thereby altering the way the game of gold mining is played in its entirety. On the other hand, 2016 was a challenging year for the Schnabel family. Here in these gold fields, Grandpa John was a legend, and we have lost him. He was 96 years old and had a life that most people can only imagine. Nevertheless, for Parker, it was not only the loss of a hero, it was also the loss of his most ardent supporter. Grandpa John had been Parker's teacher ever since he was a young child, and he had taught him everything he understood: the ability to read the land, the ability to manage a crew, and the ability to locate gold that is difficult to catch. In order to prepare Parker for the craziness of the mining life, he had built him up and made him strong enough. At this point, Parker was standing by himself for the very first time, as Grandpa had passed away. I felt a lot of emotion. On the other hand, there was a fire in Parker's belly that would not allow him to give up. He vowed that he would not cheat Grandpa John and that he would continue the legacy in a way that would make him proud. While Grandpa was being laid to rest, Parker assumed control of the Schnabel Mining Company. It was a serious goal that he set for himself, with larger dogs and more gold than ever before. The legendary Eureka Creek, which is said to be the richest undeveloped land in the area, was one of the new claims that he acquired. He also acquired a number of other new claims across the Yukon. All of a sudden, Parker was no longer an operator of a single mine. He had become a mining magnate. Numerous claims dispersed throughout the territory of Yukon. This was a completely different ballgame. He was required to mature rapidly, acquire the ability to plan extremely well, and figure out how to ensure that all of these moving parts proceed without a hitch. Rents were piling up, crews were working around the clock, and payroll was skyrocketing. There was a lot of pressure. In order to extract every last ounce of gold from these claims, Parker was forced to show his creative side. He examined everything and discovered ways to work more efficiently rather than for longer. Nevertheless, it wasn't all flowers and rainbows all the time. There were errors, poor hiring decisions, and the wrong equipment, all of which came dangerously close to ruining the entire operation. Parker was surrounded by competitors who were waiting for him to make a mistake. On the other hand, Parker, the young man who spent his childhood chasing gold with Grandpa John, possesses a strong will. As a result of his failures, he was able to build a more powerful team and push himself to greater heights than ever before. Grandpa John's spirit was right there with him whenever he was going through any kind of difficulty. Parker's doggedness was the driving force behind the Schnabel legacy, continuing to shine brighter than it ever had before. Clearly, Parker is getting it. The Yukon is a place that should be preserved in its natural state because it is both scenic and wild. Even as his mining operation blew up, Parker was aware that he had a responsibility to take responsibility. He was aware that he needed to mine in a strategic manner because he was responsible for preserving the beauty of this location for future generations. As a result, Parker became a staunch supporter of environmentally responsible mining practices. In order to prevent harmful chemicals from escaping, he made a significant financial investment in specialized equipment and filters that would prevent contaminated water from contaminating the rivers. After they had finished mining a location, Parker's team would clean up the area by removing any debris and planting native plants in order to bring everything back to life, and it was successful in the end. The animals began returning to these reclaimed areas as they showed a great deal of affection for their new home, and because Parker is a fantastic human being, he made use of his fame to advocate for more intelligent mining regulations in the Yukon. He collaborated with the most influential people in order to draft laws that safeguard the environment while still allowing people to mine in a responsible manner. He went so far as to become a mentor, instructing younger miners on how to increase their income without destroying the environment. Essentially, Parker turned into a one-man mission to demonstrate that it is possible to be a mining success story while also taking care of nature at the same time. It was his brain that came up with new ways to acquire the most gold while causing the least amount of long-term damage to the land that he cherished. Because of Parker's foresight, the wild beauty of the Yukon and its thriving mining industry will be able to coexist for many years to come. By the time he he was in his mid-20s, Parker Schnabel had already amassed $1 million in wealth. If you can believe it, a significant portion of that is due to the fact that he was the star of the gold rush. You're probably familiar with the show in which cameras follow him around the Yukon as he searches for gold. It would appear that he was making a cool $100,000 per episode. That is equivalent to $2 million per season. However, hold on, that is only the first piece of information that Parker has in his treasure chest. You have to understand that when it comes to mining claims, Parker's family basically owns half of the Yukon. It's almost like they have their very own private gold mine monopoly. With Parker at the helm, they were absolutely dominating the competition. In a single season, they were able to collect an astounding 3,500 ounces of gold. At today's prices, that is equivalent to almost $5 million. Let's just picture that there is enough gold to fill a bathtub. Every year, Parker's mines continued to produce a significant amount of gold, which resulted in the addition of millions of dollars to his already substantial bank account. But hold on, there's plenty more. Parker developed into a global influencer as a result of his role as the star of Gold Rush. He was offered endorsement deals by major corporations, including crazy mining equipment, clothing brands, and everything else you can think of. All of a sudden, Parker was not only the king of the Yukon goldfields, but he was also established as a social media rock star. Parker took advantage of his fame to make investments in a wide variety of things: equipment rental for expanding his operations, top-of-the-line trucks for moving around the mines, and even real estate are all examples of his wealth. When you factor in all of that, including money from television, profits from mining, sponsorships, and astute investments, you are looking at a net worth of approximately $10 million and growing. Isn't that a pretty good accomplishment for a guy who got his start by playing in the dirt with his grandfather? However, in contrast to the flashy millionaires that you see on the internet, Parker maintains a relatively low profile. He lives in housing that is practical at his mining camps, which allows him to remain in close proximity to the action. Since the majority of his earnings are invested back into the company, his operation is even more impressive than it already was. But hey, even millionaires have to take care of themselves every once in a while. Parker maintains a residence in his home state of Alaska, an estate that spans 45 acres and features a log cabin that appears to have been taken from a magazine. Imagine a mansion that is adorned with rustic charm and comfortable furniture, and it is outfitted with breathtaking views of the mountains. After a long season, this is the ideal spot to kick back, relax, and enjoy yourself. Additionally, forget about a dull garage because Parker has an entire toy store enclosed within it. Everything he needs to explore those mines in style is right here, including top-of-the-line trucks and all-terrain vehicles, ATVs. But Parker is not the type of person who only owns one property. A real estate portfolio is currently being managed by him. In order to generate some additional income, Parker has purchased a commercial building in Haines, Alaska, and a vacation rental property in the Yukon Territory. It appears that Parker is constructing his very own miniature empire. Now that we're talking about empires, let's talk about his collection of automobiles. That alone is enough to make any gearhead green with envy. We are in possession of a Ford Raptor, which is the ultimate off-road beast and is ideal for completely dominating the Yukon land. On the other hand, there is the Mercedes G-Wagon, which is the epitome of luxury for those rides that are more comfortable. Having a classic mood, a genuine miner's vehicle, Parker's Jeep Wrangler is a Jeep Wrangler. Additionally, if you want to see some awesome custom work, take a look at his modified Chevrolet Silverado. This guy has a passion for automobiles. These items are the epitome of quality and adventure ready, making them the ideal combination. On top of that, they are probably able to deal with a significant amount of mud without complaining. Additionally, in addition to all of that, his mining operation is kept running like a well-oiled machine by a whole fleet of trucks and heavy equipment. Now that Parker is finally able to enjoy some downtime, he enjoys going out on some epic trips around the world or taking his fancy fishing boat out for a spin. The opportunities are virtually limitless. However, this is the most exciting part. Parker is not solely concerned with himself. The individuals who assisted him in arriving here are taken care of by him. His devoted team members are occasionally rewarded with lavish vacations, and he also provides them with substantial bonuses in recognition of their hard work. One thing is certain, however, and that is that Parker's generosity is not limited to his crew. The state of Alaska, from which he originated, is not lost on him. In a significant way, he is committed to giving back to the communities in the area that were instrumental in his arrival here. Every season, a significant portion of his gold profits is donated to youth sports organizations, local charities, and animal shelters, among other causes. Even veterans organizations receive his assistance. The winters in Alaska are harsh, long, and dark, and there are times when the power goes out. That can be challenging for individuals who are unable to afford expensive generators. Therefore, when Parker is not working in the mining industry, he rolls up his sleeves and donates his time to the construction of affordable housing and the delivery of supplies to families and senior citizens who require a little bit of additional assistance. Nevertheless, Parker is making sure that people are not only fed and kept warm, he is also making an investment in the future of Alaska. What's more, Parker even established a scholarship fund at the high school he attended in the past. By providing assistance to other young people, he hopes to assist them in getting a head start in careers such as engineering or mechanics, which are extremely valuable in Alaska. To put it simply, he is assisting other people and motivating the next generation to pursue their dreams in the same way that he experienced them. However, gold is not the most important thing in Parker's life, despite the fact that he is pretty damn good at finding it. This individual has a great deal of alternative pursuits that he pursues when he is not working in a mine. Not only has he written a whole series of books about the mining history of his family, but those books have also become bestsellers. Also, Parker has a strong passion for traveling. He has visited a wide variety of locations, ranging from the steamy jungles of South America to the ancient ruins of Europe. This dude is a thrill seeker. In addition, when he is not traveling the world in his jet, you can find him in Alaska, where he enjoys activities such as fishing, hunting, or simply hiking in the mountains. Nature is his favorite place to be. On top of that, the guy is a history buff. He is utterly captivated by traditional mining implements and supplies. The way that some people collect baseball cards is the way that he collects them. It is through all of these hobbies that Parker is able to relax and maintain a sense of equilibrium, even when the mining gets crazy. Ensures that he remains grounded and prepared to crush it once more. The gold mania that Parker is experiencing is more intense than it has ever been. This individual is not content with merely living in the Yukon. His goal is to establish a mining empire that spans the entire world. My next destination is British Columbia. The Northwest Territories are also on Parker's radar, and his team is currently conducting a search for gem mines in that region. As far as he is concerned, he is interested in South America, Australia, Africa, and pretty much any other place that has shiny things underground. On the other hand, it is not just about acquiring more gold. To dig more efficiently and with less effort, Parker and his team are developing some crazy new technology. Consider the use of lasers, robots, and the entire sci-fi mining package to obtain that gold while having a smaller negative impact on the environment. How about a win-win situation? Even though Parker is currently living the dream, he is already considering what the future holds for him. Do you know about the legacy of Schnabel? In the same vein as her uncle, his niece Amelia appears to have a remarkable interest in mining. Parker is guiding her through the process, and he intends to ensure that this enterprise remains a family enterprise for many years to come. At some point in the future, Parker might decide to take a break from the monotony of his daily routine, concentrate on the bigger picture, and possibly even embark on some new adventures. In addition, you will have more time to go on incredible adventures and take pleasure in all of that gold you have worked so hard to earn, right? It really does sound like a pretty sweet plan for retirement. With that being said, what is Parker's next step? Now, regardless of the crazy adventure that he decides to go on next, there is one thing that is certain. The future holds nothing but success for Parker Schnabel. Do you remember the young child who was taught by myths and legends about mining? At this point, he has established himself as an icon. Parker incorporated everything he had learned from the veterans into his own strategy, and he was able to completely dominate it. And what do you think? It's possible that the best is yet to come. This giant gold mining operation in the Yukon is not going to slow down anytime soon. The next chapter in Parker Schnabel's story is going to be an epic one, so fasten your seatbelts.